Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 69 through 70 of YanXi Palace. So we're all on some giant boats on our way back from the inspection tour. It seems the Empress has agreed to go along with Hongzhou's plan, and it'll all be going down here on the boats before they return to the palace. After meeting with Hongzhou, we see Xian writing a letter, but we don't see who it's for. Yingluo manages to track down Dr. Ye, and after seeing the fifth prince, he says he might be able to restore his leg, but the procedure will be dangerous and extremely painful. He has to break the bone, reset it, and have bugs eat away at the necrotic tissue. Fifth prince is of course willing to try anything, and though Yingluo protests, not wanting to risk his life, in the end they decide to go forward with it. I love the interactions between these two as parents of a sick child. Fifth prince won't have anyone else in the room with him, but leaves messages for his parents and for 15th prince. I'm sorry, you were an amazing mother. That bow I promised you is under your bed. They start that night. Things start going wrong almost immediately. Yes, bugs seem to have been replaced with different bugs, and not only are they not doing their job, they're actually poisoning him. As one goes for his neck, Yingluo snatches it away, getting herself a nasty bite in the process. At the same time, the Empress Dowager's room somehow catches fire, and the Emperor rushes in to save her. At least there's plenty of water. While everyone is distracted, assassins board the boat. They immediately begin attacking and killing the guards. Everything seems to be going according to Hongzhou's plan, but then the Empress apparently has a change of heart and wants to save the Emperor. Oh no, wait, girl, you were still in love with him? But why? This woman has spent the last how many years manipulating everyone, the Emperor included? I didn't think she had any delusions left about true love, but clearly I misread her. Hongzhou can't have her ruining his plans when they are now so close. He orders Yuan and Zhen to take her somewhere safe while he sees this through. Hongzhou takes charge and leads the guards in killing the rebels. Luckily, nearby towns catch wind of what's happening and are able to send in supporting troops. It's a night filled with blood, smoke, and death, but in the morning, Hongzhou emerges victorious. The Empress Dowager's room burned down completely, so the Empress Dowager and the Emperor are assumed dead, and no one can find Yingluo or the fifth prince. Hongzhou makes a show of reluctantly taking on the responsibility of being in charge since there don't seem to be any other options. Secret passages, gotta love them. Luckily, Hongzhou didn't go full evil villain mode and start with a "Ah-ha-ha! I killed him, I'm in charge now!" Because now he can pretend he's happy to see them alive. That only buys him a few minutes though. The Emperor starts bringing out a slew of witnesses that reveal the true story. None of this was accidental. Hongzhou was trying to usurp the throne. Then, the Emperor turns his attention to the Empress.
皇上，船舱大火的时候，臣妾没走。 叛党围攻杀戮的时候，臣妾也没走，因为皇上在船上。你现在竟然怀疑我，刘大人，你跟皇上说，到底是谁给了你消息，说皇上将有危险，让你来救驾？
The local official who brought in support says it was the Empress who alerted him ahead of time that this would be happening, and it was thanks to her that he was able to bring the soldiers in time. As Hongzhou looks on, betrayed, she says she lied to Hongzhou just to draw him out, and she never planned on actually rebelling with him. The story adds up, and it looks like she's home free when Yuan steps up. Well, kneels down.
皇上，奴才再也不敢回护皇后了。皇后娘娘和和亲王有私情，他们俩早就谋划好，想在皇上和太后南巡回来的路上谋害太后和皇上，然后回京立12阿哥为新君，这是可恼可杀呀！
Oh my god. Zhen says he's lying because despite all the nonsense she's been doing with Yuan, she's actually totally loyal to the Empress. Yuan claims they'll find the proof if they search Hongzhou. The Empress's personal jade pendant. I mean, Zhen does kind of deserve this for being tricked, but she truly did not betray the Empress. Even though he's been betrayed by her, Hongzhou still takes the blame, telling the Emperor that yes, he is in love with her, but she's never returned his feelings. It is a mess and about to get messier.
令贵妃请。
I don't know who's more upset to see her. Turns out the Emperor, in the midst of all this chaos, made sure to order his personal guard to protect her for the whole night. That is the final blow for the Empress. She asked if he thought about her for even a second when the ship went up in flames. When she saw the fire, her only thought was saving him, even if it left her permanently scarred. But what about him? He sent his guards to protect Yingluo, who has never had him in her heart.
他为你做过什么？没有，从来都没有。我璎珞从来都没有爱过你，他只爱他自己。他为了达到目的，一次又一次的利用你。爱你的人你不珍惜，不爱你的人你视若珍宝。红丽，你是个傻子。不是，我才是傻子。
皇后娘娘。
The guards try to take her away and she pulls a knife. Falling to her knees, she pulls out some of her hair.
满人除非国丧，否则不可落发。疯了，皇后娘娘真是疯了呀！
The Empress Dowager calls this out for cursing either her or the emperor, but for Shen, it seems to be for the death of her husband, the death of their marriage. Even at this point, Hongzhou begs the emperor not to blame Shen too heavily. Dude, you have your own head to worry about. Zhener tries to attack Yuan for all he's done, but he gets the better of her and stabs her to death. He then tries to offer his services to the emperor, saying he can tell the emperor about all the empress's misdeeds, but Yingluo stops him in his tracks. She reveals that she was only pretending to sleep that night he was talking about his past, and she sent someone to check on his old hometown. When the Empress Dowager hears the name of this town, she immediately orders everyone to leave. So, Yuan told Yingluo before that his rich father forced him to serve as a slave to his half-brothers and wouldn't acknowledge him. That rich man was the emperor's father, making him the emperor's half-brother. The people he's been trying to get revenge on all this time were the royal family.
弘历，你们一出生就锦衣玉食，有权力地位，知道我在干什么吗？我在做禁军。
The Empress Dowager will not hear this, saying the previous emperor had no illegitimate children, which is an insane thing to say when it takes quite literally 2 minutes to father a child. Anyway, Yuan explains that he has proof. The previous emperor stayed at his grandfather's house one night, slept with his mother, and he knows this because the emperor left behind his royal cloak. And here, this story intersects with the story of Lady Chen that caused such a rift between the emperor and the Empress Dowager. Remember, Lady Chen apparently switched clothes with the emperor so that he could get away. So if Yuan's family had that robe, then it's not because the emperor was there, it could have been the very same bandits or someone else who managed to snag the robe. And Yuan's family was just using that story of it being the emperor to save his mother the shame.
到底是谁借机玷污农家女子，可就不得而知了。
你胡说，没有别的可能，就是他。
Okay, so problem solved. Yuan's just a crazy guy with no royal blood. But then, when the emperor wants to have Yuan killed, she won't allow it.
凌迟处死。
别！
She refuses to give any reason, she just won't allow him killed, and literally what else could that be other than the guilt of knowing that she's lying? The Empress Dowager is not a kind-hearted woman by any stretch of the imagination, but she certainly seems to care about the royal line. It seems that Yuan just might be everything he claimed to be, and while the Empress Dowager won't allow that publicly acknowledged, she also doesn't want to kill one of the emperor's children. This also makes it more clear that the story she told about Lady Chen could not have been entirely true, because the story she told cannot be true if Yuan's story is also true.
别碰我，我是皇子。
In any case, they successfully made it through the rebellion and they head back home. As we saw, Yingluo was bitten on the hand trying to save Fifth Prince, and the bug bite, it turns out, is fatal with no known cure. This was a scheme by Yuan, ready to help her fulfill her promise of sticking with him until death.
你当初答应过我，在圆明园里陪我一辈子的，你没有遵守诺言，没有关系，哥哥帮你遵守誓言。
Yingluo's condition deteriorates rapidly. She hallucinates a man's figure, before passing out and then wakes up in much better health. Fu Heng found a cure for her, but in getting it got malaria and then he died. Before passing, he left Hailan Chao with a message for her.
魏璎珞，这辈子我守着你，已经守够了。下辈子，可不可以换你守着我？
Everyone leaves and Yingluo leans tiredly against the wall and loses his mind, but the Empress Dowager will not allow him to be killed, so I suppose we can assume he lives out the rest of his days like this. The Emperor decides not to depose the Empress. Guess a third Empress would look pretty bad. Also, Yingluo spoke up for her, remembering her kindness, however brief, on a night when she passed out after working too hard.
请太医为他诊治一下吧。
This was before they had even exchanged a word, and I guess Yingluo has kept it in her heart all this time, despite all the evil Xian has done to her since.
最后一个问题，我花了数十年时间都没能赢得他的心，你到底用了什么样的手段让皇上那么爱？您一往情深，可为什么要告诉他呢？先说出口的人就已经输了。
Again, their relationship is exhausting. The Emperor removes all her powers and grounds her. He then promotes Yingluo to Huang Guifei to serve as the de facto empress. They live happily ever after. Well, that was some ending. Honestly, it felt like they ran out of time and said, wait, what about those 12 ideas we had for the ending? Just use all of them. I know there were a lot of cuts as well, so that's probably contributing to that feeling. Like, Fifth Prince deserved so much better than to be a footnote like, oh, he died. And Fu Heng as well? What the hell was that? He somehow got the message about Yingluo being sick, figured out the cure, went on some crazy mission to get it in the middle of a war, got malaria, returned to finish the war, then died, and then there was even enough time to get his body sent back to the capital. Exactly how long was Yingluo unconscious? I feel like the pacing was going really well setting up this finale, but they didn't stick the landing. Yuan's story as well... Was that supposed to be clear? Because honestly, I had to go and look it up. If you're interested, here's the post he made. Hashtag YanXi Palace. Hashtag the Empress Dowager didn't kill Yuan Chunwang. I've got the answers, everyone. It's very simple. It's because Yuan Chunwang really was the previous emperor's illegitimate child. The Empress Dowager's actions said it all. In addition, I want to sincerely thank you all for your love and support for me. Thanks to the slew of rude comments, I realize I'm actually not that strong. I'm temporarily turning off the comments. I hope everyone will keep liking YanXi Palace and support all that is true, good, and beautiful. First of all, who the hell is sending rude messages to the actor of a bad guy in a show? But anyway, is it me or does this make Yingluo look like kind of a bad friend? So she was just pretending to sleep so she wouldn't have to deal with talking to him about his past that she asked about? And then in this scene, fully knowing about his abandonment issues, she was still acting like it wasn't a big deal? I think this reveal is gonna ruin their relationship to me on a rewatch because honestly, based on the way she treats the people she loves, I don't really think she ever saw Yuan as a friend. It seems like she just kind of pitied him and, you know, that's okay, just a little sad. But anyway, what in the world happened to Jia 2? After hyping her up as coming in to take her nephew back, she didn't have a single confrontation with Shen, didn't bring up Fourth Prince once, and then disappeared into the ether. You have so few consorts in this show who are actual characters, the least you can do is not lose them. I also would have liked to see what became of Zhang and Shun. Even just a sentence or two would have been fine just to see where they ended up, because they were, you know, pretty big characters. Anyway, believe it or not, I do love this drama. I'll be honest, it doesn't rank as highly for me as Ri or Zhenhuan's stories, but I also just think it's a different thing. We don't need the same story told the same way a dozen times, and it's cool to have a harem drama that plays more into the fantasy and camp of it all. I enjoyed watching this drama, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't on the edge of my seat for a lot of the schemes. It's a really good time when it's light, but it also doesn't shy away from the dark. It was an entertaining story from start to finish, and I'm certainly glad I watched it. Now for the awards. The Hardest Worker Award finally does not go to a maid. Wu, you absolutely earned this one. His official title was the head of the Internal Affairs Bureau, but he did everything. Overseeing maid selections, transporting everything from lychee trees to animals,
快快快，不可耽误及时
overseeing construction projects, going out of the palace to take part in pours drives, even tasting meat. Compare that with Yuan, who had the same position and yet managed to put in full 12-hour shifts creeping about Yingluo's palace. Congratulations, man. The Dum Dum Award. Third place, and I hate to do this to her, but it's gotta be Jenner. My girl, unlike everyone else, you had a front row seat to everything Yuan was doing, and you still believe this man? I would think you would have learned something from watching Shan all these years. Second place is Shu. Easy. She had just one single brain cell running on pure spite. But even still, first place by an absolute mile is Jixia. Oh my goodness, Jixiang. I have never seen a character so aggressively stupid that they were a danger to themselves and others. I still remember just absolutely losing it when she left the thread despite being told numerous times that it needed to be watched carefully. She was in a relatively small number of episodes, but she definitely left a huge impression on me. The Smarty Pants Award. I'm just gonna get Yingluo out of the way because of course she's first place. Yingluo literally had a copy of the script under her bed. It's the only thing that makes sense. Not once did I ever feel like she couldn't get herself out of whatever snafu she was in. Second place, Shen, absolutely brilliant, nothing more needs to be said there. And finally, Shun, to in just a few months get a solid handle on everyone's wants and insecurities, and then use them all to avenge herself with only Yingluo the wiser in the end, well deserved. Special mention for Yuan as well because he did really well in the last few episodes. The Hottest in the Office Award. Third place is the Empress, who was such a regal beauty. That's combined with her beautiful soul, through rain and shine, she was always radiant. Second place goes to Shun. What interesting features she has. I could definitely see myself kidnapping her and killing her son. First place goes to Jia. I don't know what it is. There's just something about her that is so much more attractive than her sister. Is it her voice? The way she walks? I can't seem to put my finger on it, but whatever the case. As for the males, all the actors are really handsome, but I feel like in the drama, no one really stood out to me. Yuan especially had me scratching my head when all the maids were obsessing over him. I mean, look at those eyes. He looks like he kills puppies for fun. How Jenner ever saw love there is beyond me. I'll say Hailan Cha in third place and Hongzhou in second place, but only for this scene specifically. I just don't know what it is, but he looks really great here. Now, the only exception here is Fu Heng, who is actually prettier than any of the girls. In fact, he should probably take home both trophies. My favorite character award. Third place is Shu, which shouldn't be a surprise the number of times I've gushed over her. Second place is Shen, minus the last 5 or so episodes. Her plotting always left me slack-jawed. I loved her whole story, every step it took for her to get here, her intelligence, her ruthlessness. Again, up until the last few episodes. First place, damn it, it's Yuan. I love his arc. I love the tragic backstory. I love the obsession, the scheming. I just love him. I'm under no delusions that he's a good person, but I loved watching him every minute he was on the screen. He was a great character from start to finish. That said, I loved so many of the characters. Fu Heng and Yingluo, of course. The Empress is an easy one. Dr. Ye was super cool. I also really love the Emperor's character overall. They definitely did a great job with their characters. My favorite award, the Audacity Award, for the one person who just did not know their place. It's Mingyu. First place Mingyu, second place Mingyu, third place Mingyu. Who the hell raised this girl? Where the hell did she get the gall? The number of times she would say something that would have my jaw on the floor, like, is everyone hearing this? She's a maid, right? Is she allowed to do this? You guys, I cannot. Audacity, thy name is Mingyu. And lastly, 2 special awards just for YanXi Palace. First, the Simp Award. Urban Dictionary defines simp as someone who does way too much for the person they like. First, a special mention for Chun, who just barely made it out of top 3 even though she definitely deserved it.
你真的不记得我了？
So, third place is Fu Heng. For the obvious. He fell in love once as a teenager and just never recovered. Through a breakup, both of their marriages, even children, there he was, still ready to fight, bleed, and eventually die for Yingluo. First runner-up to the person I was sure was going to win it, the Emperor. For a man with an entire empire to run, he sure did have a lot of free time to spend thinking about how to get Yingluo to like him. And finally, the king of simps, Hongzhou. Who would have thought the real unrequited love story in the end would be Hongzhou and Shen? Like, damn, he really loved her. Hongzhou ends up imprisoned and later killed, but with all of his remaining power and time, he still tried to do what he could to make the Empress's life comfortable, even though she betrayed him. Simply incredible. Then, an award passed down from the master herself.
好了。
I'll call this one the Rongpei Inaugural Slap Award. This drama is chock full of slaps that had me wincing and caressing my own cheek, and the top 3 are this one at third place. Now, this channel would never stoop to petty name calling. You know me to deliver nothing but the most unbiased, objective opinions. The praise for this slap has nothing to do with how slappable this person's face may or may not be, or how desperately this person may or may not have been asking for it. It's all about skill. Note that Yingluo was being restrained and facing the opposite direction. She had to quickly build up momentum and find her target just a split second after turning around to deliver this beautiful backhand. In fact, let's see it a few more times, to properly admire the skill behind it. Second place, this beauty by the Emperor. Note how he first stamps his foot in place like a batter preparing to hit. A novice slapper might then just go for the slap, but he takes a moment to gather energy, winding up like the discus throwers of old. He borrows from the very greats to deliver this soul ender, and it is felt by everyone in a 10-foot radius. And finally, first place. First, she eats Urchin's attack with barely a reaction, then the defense and the immediate retaliation with enough force to send her to the floor. Mwah! A thing of absolute beauty. Thanks for joining me on this one. Till next time, thanks for watching.
你提什么提啊？你提冤枉，丢人，丢人，你知道吗？你丢了十三皇叔的脸，丢了爱新觉罗家的人。滚！你刚才没听见呢。